Hello, my name is Paul Trani, and I want to take you through some of the top updates at Adobe Max, starting actually in Illustrator. And here I am in Illustrator. There was lots of talk about Creative Sync, which is super powerful because it really helps you as a creative work faster and better, and just with more ease. So in fact, in this case, if I want to take this shape and drag it into my libraries panel, well, this is Creative Sync at work. It's actually syncing that asset. You can see it right here, okay? And that's going to be available to me, not only in Illustrator, but InDesign, After Effects, Photoshop, like everywhere where you expect it. And even saving character styles like I'm doing right now. Again, this stuff is important because I can hardly remember what the character styles are most of the time, but you can see I've applied those, and now if I jump into, say, Photoshop, I can start to use those just like I am doing right here. So I can select Adventure Guide. You can see how I've changed that, and I can have Denali larger or something like that. You guys get the idea. It's super powerful. It's not linked, but that's what I can do sort of with this asset as I start to, change it or whatever. And the same thing works in Photoshop. Let's say, for instance, if I have a logo, I can use that logo and not only use it in Photoshop, but I'd want to take this logo and drag it in here. And now I don't have to ask anybody where the updated logo is. It's here because, you know what, I can collaborate with someone else. We both have access to the library, and we're both using that asset. Therefore, when we're in here using it in one of these artboards, as I drop it on, I can start to have that available to me as I'm doing right now. So here it is. You can see it right there. All right. So I want to go beyond just sharing assets because I have access to assets as well through Adobe Stock. So if I jump out to Adobe Stock, you can see it right here. I can save a preview image of anything. So I just searched on Alaska and I'm saving some preview images. Let's get, I got to have this American Eagle, America, right? Doing just saving previews down. I can license them as well, and it's going to be licensed and synced. You guessed it, right over here. Okay, whether I'm in Illustrator, right? You can see it there. Or if I'm in Photoshop, or if I'm in InDesign, it doesn't matter. I can start using those assets. Not only this one that I have created, but I could use this husky. I can place this husky inside of that. Place it there. Place it inside of that Alaska silhouette, if you will, that map image, and you get the idea. And the great thing is once I have something I like, not necessarily that I like this per se, but I can buy this image and it will remove the watermark and I don't have to redo all of that work. So hugely powerful, Creative Sync running behind the scenes, and I'm going to minimize these screens, and I don't really need Adobe Stock anymore because I want to jump out to mobile. And what's going on here is this is actually my iPad connected. So that's what you're seeing here. We have, we've had various capture apps. What we have now is that we have Adobe Capture, which does so much. And Sketch has been updated with watercolor colors. Very sweet. Photoshop Fix, Photoshop Mix, Adobe Comp. If I jump into Capture, for instance, maybe this is where I'd want to start. I can capture colors, shapes, brushes. So Adobe Brush, well, it's basically baked into Adobe Capture, which is great. So I can come in here. If I want to grab a shape, for instance, hey, let's just point at that shape, or this, in this case, this drawing, right? Let's just increase the intensity as I grab that particular image, right? And just like that, and I can just kind of remove some of that content like I'm doing right now. This is vector, select next. You can see the preview, looks great, save it as whatever I want to call it. It gets saved to this adventure project as well, okay? And I can start to use that anywhere I want. So that's Adobe Capture, which is really cool. And I can start using that content not only on my desktop, but say in Adobe Comp CC, where I can mock up websites, any sort of designs. Doesn't really matter. I can just jump in and start creating. As you can see, I'm doing right now. Yeah, let's get some body copy, right? Let's get a headline right there, okay? Let's get an image right here, okay? So even that text, for instance, let's just ungroup those. I can add a title. I can add an image as well. I can add a title, for instance, right there. I want a big image. Let's just do a big X. You get the idea. You know, for this text, I have access to my library's adventure project. You guessed it. There's like the character style that I wanted to use. I have access to it. This is actually the white one is right below it, but in general, I can take that and start manipulating it. I can add another image from Adobe stock or even jump into my adventure project. And there's that husky that we love so much, right? And I can start using it. I can add another image. If I happen to be, let's just say, the author of this particular article, for instance, I can, let's just grab a picture from my camera roll. And not only that, I can jump out into Photoshop Fix. So you have this seamless workflow from app to app. As I jump in, you can see, and there's facial recognition. So notice how I can select my face and I can start to adjust the width if you want. This is me in the summertime, this is me in the wintertime, right? You kind of get the idea, but it recognizes all of that content, and you can do all sorts of things as far as manipulating with Adobe Photoshop Fix in this case. Obviously, I look like an alien. I'm just doing something drastic, so you can tell that I've done that manipulation, and now you have Mr. Chin that obviously is the author of this article. Now, this isn't particularly pretty. Let's overlook that. The great thing about it is that it's it's really app agnostic at this point, because I can choose when to, if I want to send it to InDesign or Photoshop or Illustrator, doesn't matter. I just selected InDesign, right? So it will go ahead and push it to InDesign. So when I get back to my desk, it's going to be available to me. So let's jump into InDesign. So there it is, just pops up, ready to go, and now I can really start to work on these assets. And the most powerful thing in InDesign is huge. The ability to publish HTML is what you're doing here. We've been asked about this for years, and now you can just take this asset and has multiple pages. I just clicked publish online. It's going to publish it online as HTML. If there's animation, video, audio, whatever, it's going to be available to me. I can see that content. It's going to look gorgeous. And I can actually continue to work. If I close that, it's actually still publishing it, by the way. So you can see it right there. So I can actually continue to work. And I can also edit those files. So look, here's the recently published version right out here. As I select it, we'll see it open up. You'll see that this is all HTML. And of course, you want to be, Here it is, looking good. You can see the animation. You can start to see this is actually on page 2 where we have some video as well, some animation that slides in. We can share this. You can embed it. You have full control, and that is in InDesign. But let's move on from InDesign because I want to jump in, do two final things. In Illustrator, for instance, love this. Again, touch workspaces, just the ability to have touch when it comes to drawing. That's what you need. Is you draw on paper. I want to be able to do that on a touch device. I want to do that on a, let's say for instance, a Microsoft Surface Pro. Or as there are more touch devices out there, how do these tools work? Well, to be honest with you, I'm going to show you this new shaper tool. So check this out. If I want to, draw, say, a square. I thought it was an ugly square. I thought it was an ugly, triangle. I thought it was an ugly circle, and it makes me look good. And you can go beyond that as well. So as I just start to just draw some lines, it makes me look good as I start to create right in here. And in fact, I want to remove this outer circle just like that. I can do that. I can start to remove that, for instance. In fact, let's just remove this, and we kind of have more of a mountain range, if you will. And the great thing is the underlying content right in here. If I just select it, see, I see that. There it is. That's the has to be the particular circle right in there as I select it. As I select it, I can start to move that circle around. So you can obviously see the power that you have with the shaper tool. And the great thing is that it's just super easy to work with. As I do one more thing right in here. There we go. There's basically our moon. So you get the idea. Shaper tool, very powerful. Again, I could sync that. That could be available to me in Photoshop. But I'm going to move on from Photoshop and kind of switch gears even in terms of assets. Because let's say, for instance, whether I want to do a photo shoot, whatever the case may be, I actually have access to creating 3D characters. And this is with Fuse. So Adobe Fuse CC Preview, this is a preview, but check this out. You have access to these stock characters. You can obviously modify them any way you want. As you dive in, you can change the clothing, as I'm doing right now. Let's just like change his shirt to a running shirt, because that's what I want to do in this case. And for his shirt, I want to change the texture, and I can change the texture and the color. It's all pretty straightforward. As I change that to a teal, you can see it right there, just like that, as I select OK. And there he is. So I can save him to Mixamo and animate him some more, or I can save him to CC libraries. So he will be saved to our CC library. I can start to use him. In fact, I already actually have him in here. As I take a look, you could see here is that character. Okay, he's actually already running, but check this out. Let's just open up the 3D panel as I've selected this character. And again, he just came from the CC libraries. You can see the number of options you have over here. In fact, let's just change this to small thumbnail. For that character, you can see, okay, well, let's, pick him standing. He's obviously going to be standing at this point. We want that run cycle. I can have him running forward quickly. And let's keep in mind, he actually is running. As we take a look right down here, I can go through and you can see that, I have all of those frames. So I can actually render this out, but more importantly, I can get just the frame that I want for this run cycle, whether this is for a big time photo shoot or if I use the actual asset. I have that sort of control. In fact, this case, I want to actually reposition him. Let's just, adjust him this way so it's kind of more of a side view, something like that. You get the idea. I can start to add various effects as I'm doing right now. So whether it's for a final design, any sort of layout, any sort of design, you have that flexibility with Adobe Fuse CC Preview, bringing that content right into Photoshop. Even going beyond that, I can get into facial control as well. But hopefully you can see the power of this, what you have available to you that was shown at Max. Certainly very powerful. So yeah, check it out. So thanks for watching.